Hello everybody, this is GamerGar. Welcome to a brand new Stardew Valley challenge. This is the Krobus in Spring challenge. Can we get Krobus to be our roommate in spring? That's right, we are going to attempt this challenge. It is not going to be easy. If we want to get Krobus as a roommate, certain conditions will have to be met. The first condition is to get access to the source. That means we need to donate over 60 artifacts to Gunther as quickly as possible. That is just the first condition. To clear other conditions to get access to Krobus and to ensure we max out his friendship before summer, we will also need to obtain Mastery. I'm not going to spoil the methods too much, but for now just know that there's two big conditions we have to clear before we get into the final week of spring, and that is Mastery and 60 items donated to the museum. Now we're going to start on the Riverlands farm, and the reason why I'm selecting this farm is because it is the best starter farm in the game when it comes to making huge amounts of money. The Riverlands farm will give me access to a fish smoker. And no, I didn't put extra cabins on the farm because I feel like putting extra cabins on the farm would just make this challenge a little bit too simple. So we're just going to start with one house, one fish smoker. Today's task: repair the bridge and access the tide pools. If we can access the tide pools, we want to at least get enough wood so we can repair the bridge tomorrow when we go and get our fishing rod. Once we have the first chest put down, we're going to head down into Cindersap Forest. Now it took me at least 4 new games to get a lovely amount of spring onions just like this. This game isn't seeded, we're just coming in here, totally random. Let's see what we get. Some things worked out in our favour, other things didn't, unfortunately. Now we are going to search all the trash cans as per usual. We were unlucky with the artifact on the beach. We got no artifact today. But not to worry, we will have the whole month of spring to grab huge amounts of artifacts. The only problem with that is we don't get the extra 250 gold. That comes in real handy for day 2 when you're looking to get the fiberglass rod. We did, however, get insane luck inside some of these trash cans. A chocolate cake from Gus's bin, and we got cookies from the Mullners. Couldn't ask for better than that. I'm going to eat the chocolate cake. That's going to put my energy right back up to maximum. I'm going to sell the daffodils to Pierre, and I'm going to sell some spring onions, but not all. I'm now going to purchase some potatoes, the bean starter, the cauliflower seed, and we're going to grab a piece of kale as well. You see, I selected remixed bundles, and because they're remixed, you just don't know what they're going to ask you for. So I purchased one of almost every crop just to ensure these bundles weren't going to mess me over in a couple of days. And there's a very specific reason why I chose remixed bundles, but I'm not going to wreck it for you right now. Just keep watching. So for the rest of the evening, we've got huge amounts of spring onions and we have cookies. We're going to cut down as many trees as possible. We're aiming for 300 pieces of wood. We also want to mine away as much rock as possible. We need to get mining level 1 before the mines open up. That way, we'll have an extra proficiency, so less energy when we swing our pickaxe, but also we will be able to make cherry bombs. And I'm telling you right now, if you can go into the mines with the ability to make cherry bombs, progression is increased dramatically. You can see my energy just shot back up there again. It was almost full. That's because I ate all of my spring onions. My cookies are also gone as well. So with that renewed energy, we are going to spend every single bit of it. We're going to keep going until our character has no energy left, and until that timer takes right up to 2 o'clock. With the remaining energy, we're going to start taking out some rocks as well. I did go for a little bit of a gander up here by Linus's tent. I picked up some leeks. I decided to cut down some trees up here because I felt like I wouldn't have enough time to cut them down back in the farm if I was to just run down there. There was only 1 in-game hour left on the clock, so I ate the leeks and I cut down a handful of trees right here just to maximize my day 1. I only had 110 gold on me, so if I passed out before I got to bed, it wasn't the end of the world. I'd only lose maybe 10% of that. So I got 2 level ups in foraging and I got 1 level up in mining, which was great. I also made 859 gold. This was very important. 130 sap, that sells at 2 gold each, that was 260. Fishing, we got the oyster, the cockle and the clam. We got those down by the beach. And I also sold my parsnip seeds. So the next day, we're going to start by watering up the crops. We almost have 1,000 gold. This is going to make getting the fiberglass rod a little bit easier because that rod sells for 1800 gold. We are now going to start the fishing, and we are going to be doing huge amounts of fishing until we get fishing level 10. Once we hit 10, you're not really going to see fishing anymore until the end of the challenge. We need to hit fishing level 2 as quickly as possible. It is very important that we chain up a couple of perfect catches, or at the very least, some treasure chest catches to get double XP, so we can make that happen. We now have 1,524 gold. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to fix up the bridge, go to the tide pool area. We got lucky in terms of getting the sea urchin. We got 2 of those. That was very lucky. But we didn't get any corals. We need 3 corals, a sea urchin, and 3 iron bars to make a bait maker. That means even if we got level 6 fishing today, which is not going to happen, we cannot make the bait maker. So we're going to go to Willy again, set up some fish. It's going to push us up to over 2,000 gold, and we're going to buy our fiberglass rod. With the rest of our money, we're going to purchase bait. We now have 64 pieces of bait. I sold the bait by accident, but we're not going to panic. We can buy it back for the same price that we sold it for. So I just got a little bit excited there. We're going to head up to the lake. Now, I have been doing a lot of off-screen practice with beach fishing, okay? And even with all of the attempts I've put into it, I still find that lake fishing is more profitable, and I can just get more XP from doing it. I know that you have to walk up to the lake and that it uses up a lot of in-game time, but in my opinion, it's worth it. Because I personally find it's way easier to chain up perfect catches up here than it is down on the beach. Now, we're going to fish up here until we pass out, because we only have 4 gold in our inventory. So nothing bad's going to happen if we pass out, and because we're going to get skill ups, we're going to wake up the next day with full energy. Now, this video is fairly long, and the reason for it is that I'm going to show a lot more of the fishing mini-games for the most part, especially when it comes to catfishing and whatnot. Many people seem to be terrified or, not very motivated to get huge amounts of catfish in spring. But hopefully after you watch this video, you'll see that after you gain a couple of fishing levels, they're actually fairly easy to pull up. Now, day number 3 hits. I reset today about 4 or 5 times. I kept waking up, trying to get some catfish, going to Clint to get my pickaxe upgraded early. I decided to not do this anymore. I figured that if I just wake up, go straight up to the lake and fish up there for the whole day, I can make way more money and get way more fishing XP, and I can always do the pickaxe upgrade tomorrow. Now, if I do it tomorrow, it means I can't go to the mines on day 5, but I can go on day 6. That's fine, because it just means I give myself an extra day of fishing to get more resources, more fishing XP, and more money. And I've done this the last time too when I was doing another challenge. I think it was going for mastery. Now, I got a diamond today. This was absolutely amazing. And the more things like this we can get, especially in the early days, the better. That diamond will sell. We will sell that one for 750 gold. And that is very important for a couple of items that we really need before we hit the Desert Festival. We will be aiming to go to the Desert Festival on the 15th, the 16th and the 17th. We will need thousands of calico eggs to max out our foraging skill because we want to go for the mastery. If we don't get the Desert Festival, my whole grand plan is not going to work when it comes to maxing out Krobus before we get into summer. You'll notice that I've stood a little bit away from the water here and I'm max casting. The reason for this is that my backpack is full. I still haven't gotten the backpack upgrade. So when I throw away items, they won't fall into the water, and I can always come back later on and I can pick them up. I got huge combinations of bubbles today, which was real nice. I got bubbles all over the place, and because of that, I fished up huge quantities of fish. I also got my fair share of treasure chests as well, but I didn't get any sort of special items, unfortunately. We got no Neptune's Glaive, we got no Broken Tident, we got no Iridium Band, no Prismatic Shard Dinosaur Egg, all of those beautiful, beautiful items that can sometimes pop up in the chest. They just weren't happening for me today, but you know what? That's okay. We can still do a very powerful run without getting those items. But the more fishing you do, the more likely you are to get items like that, especially if you just fish on the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. You'll be very surprised what you can actually grab, especially when your fishing skill gets much, much higher. So this is just an example of me speeding up time here dramatically, and we're just going to absolute town on these bubbles. And what you notice here is that my fishing bar is now much bigger because my fishing skill has increased and I can just chain up perfect catch after perfect catch after perfect catch. Now we ended up getting our fishing skill right to 7 today, which was absolutely amazing. But to this day, believe it or not, I still cannot hit level 5 fishing on day number 2. Maybe if I fished down the beach for the whole day and I got good bubbles, I could do it. Now, I ended up resetting today to dramatic effect because I noticed the first couple of times I started clearing debris that those bubbles were activating at the bottom of the farm. So eventually I decided to attack those bubbles from the get-go and then go into town and pick up the help wanted quest. And it was going to be fishing up some largemouth basses there for Demetrius. So I now have 8,500 gold there from selling huge amounts of fish to Willie. And those fish sell for a lot more because our fishing skill is beyond the level of 5. We're going to get Clint to break open some geodes. Now, every single geode this man breaks open, if it's a mineral or an artifact that can be donated, it will be donated. Donations will take first priority over money unless it's an absolute emergency. Now we're going to purchase copper ores off Clint. We purchased 20 to make the furnace and then we purchased 25 more to smelt up 5 bars to get the first tool upgrade. For some reason, I was getting lots of iron ores from fishing, but I wasn't getting copper ores. I do think though that if you start shallow casting instead of casting into the deep, you can increase the odds of getting copper ores instead of other ores. But I'm not 100% sure about that. I know anyone in the comments if you have more knowledge than me when it comes to the fishing loot pool. So at this moment in time, we're outside Clint's house, we're doing some fishing. We did pick up an ancient dolphin from a treasure chest. We'll just donate that. From there on out, it's just going to be a combination of fishing, smelting, fishing, smelting. Once we get our 5 copper bars together, we're going to go back into Clint's and we're going to upgrade our pickaxe, and that will be upgraded to a copper pickaxe within 3 days, the 4th counting as the first day. That means we get the pickaxe back on the 6th. Missing 1 day in the mines isn't going to put a dampener on the run at all. We're going to sell some fish to Willie. We have 4,000 gold right now. We're going to go to the tide pools. We picked up 1 coral, which was great, but it's not enough to make the bait maker. We still need 2 more pieces of corals, so we're going to cross our fingers and pray RNG is going to favour us within the next few days. It would have been really nice to have a bait maker today, but look, as I said, it's not a seeded run. I don't know when these corals are going to pop up. But you know what? Because the run isn't seeded, it makes it fun for me. So we're back up at the lake. We don't have the bait maker. It's not the end of the world. What we do have, however, is our fish smoker. We've brought that today because I now have a lot of coal from doing huge amounts of fishing. I'm not going to smoke everything. Primarily, I'm just going to smoke bullheads and largemouth bass. If I'm really stuck for money, we might throw a high quality chub into it or something like that. Otherwise, we're going to keep the fish. Also, we have to be very careful about how much coal we use because we still need at least 5 pieces of coal to get 5 more copper bars to get our axe upgraded to a copper axe. So coal is something that you just don't want to run out of because you're never guaranteed coal when you go fishing. Once we hit the mines, it'll be a different story. We can go to absolute town on coal, especially when we hit the middle layer. Now, I just picked up a bone flute. This was a brand new item. I thrown it away thinking it would stay on the ground. It didn't. It sunk, and I swear it was on land. I don't know what happened there, but I just lost the bone flute. But look, I promise you it's not going to break the run. So I put everything inside my chest. I picked up a prehistoric tool there. That was really nice. The more artifact items I can get, the more non-mineral items I can get, the better. Because we're going to end up with hundreds of omni geodes, and that's just going to give us minerals. We made over 6,400 gold today. A good portion of that was that beautiful diamond that we sold for 750 gold. We got some smoked fish thrown in there as well. But over the next few days, we will see a much heavier use of the fish smoker. We're now on the 5th. The mines have opened up, but we can't go in there. There's no point. We don't have our pickaxe. But look what we got today. We managed to get a broken trident out of the first treasure chest. 15 to 26 damage plus 1 crit chance. It didn't come with any special enchants, unfortunately, but it is still a magnificent weapon. We also completed a help wanted quest here too for Demetrius. We picked up that 1 or 2 days ago where he wanted us to get 2 largemouth basses, so we're going to hand that in. So here's another task that we have to achieve. We need to unlock mystery boxes. before spring is finished. It is extremely important we complete 6 help wanted quests before spring comes to an end. If we don't complete 6 help wanted quests, it's going to make my tactic way harder. So we're going to go to Pierre's, we're going to pick up the large pack there. That was a much needed inventory capacity upgrade. I sold some more fish to Pierre. You can sell him the smoked fish, but he won't take raw fish. It's the same with Willie. Willie will take the raw fish, but he won't take the smoked fish. Also, a gentle reminder to myself is that Willie closes on Saturdays. So we're going to go down to Willie, sell him some carp. We now have 11,000 gold. I'm going to go ahead now and purchase the iridium rod along with the trap bobber. I'm not going to use the trap bobber straight away. I'm going to save it for a rainy day. No pun intended. I'm going to get Clint to break open even more geodes. Then, all of those minerals will be donated into lovely Gunther. Let's have a quick look at the donations right now. Not much has been donated, but it's going to pick up dramatically, especially after the Desert Festival. Wait until you see how much geodes I end up with. It's going to be a crazy amount. I'm going to buy more copper ores off Clint. The reason for this is that I want to hand in my axe to upgrade to a copper axe once I get back my steel pickaxe. So we're going for chain upgrades in terms of tools. We're also doing more fishing up in the lake again today. We picked up a book of power called Jewels of the Sea. This is going to come in fair's handy. This will give us a chance to get raw from a fish that we pull up, provided a treasure chest is also activated. It's never happened to me before, but I wonder with that book, is it possible to get legend raw if you've got a treasure chest while fighting a legend? Legend raw sells for huge amounts of money. It would be really nice if we managed to get that done in this challenge. Another fantastic treasure chest with another diamond inside, 750 gold right there. Money is still extremely important. We still need additional tool upgrades. We want at least the steel pickaxe before the 15th. It would also be nice to get a steel axe before we decide to max out foraging as well. We also want an additional 10,000 gold to get the final backpack upgrade. And then after all that, we're going to need about 42,500 gold to fix up the ball to unlock the bus. And then we need about 60 to 65,000, maybe 70,000 gold to buy a full stack of kale to maximise farming. So we need all that gold within the next handful of weeks. In order for us to make that happen, we're going to have to use the fish smoker heavily, but we'll also have the luxury of selling iridium bars when we get to the desert as well. So there's a lot of things we can utilise to get this money to flow into us. Now at the end of today, we made over 7,300 gold. Let's break it down. Smoked largemouth basses, 375 gold a pop. Then we have regular fish as well. The largemouth bass roe, the bullhead roe, the roes in general are making a little bit of a dent as well, which is nice. We also had 6 iridium quality chubs. Demetrius paid us a visit the next day. We're going mushrooms all the way. The mushroom cave also comes with a free dehydrator. We will be using that to full effect. We're going to water all the crops, and then we're going to visit the wizard to learn all about the magic of the Junimos. We're going to pull up some spring onions, we're going to grab a daffodil, and we're going to go into the community centre bundles here. The reason why I got the spring onions is because I had to reset today a handful of times, so I knew the bundle was going to ask for spring onions. So that's why I went down and picked up the onions, otherwise I wouldn't have went down there. So we're now going to go to Clint here. We got our copper pickaxe. He's now going to upgrade our regular axe to a copper axe. We'll get him to break open a couple of more geodes. I was going to sell the diamond. I said, no, we're going to donate it. Krobus, the source, takes #1 priority over money or triple shot expressos at this moment in time. All future diamonds that I get, we might just keep them for triple shot expressos for the Skull Cavern runs. We're now finally making some progress in the mines. We've got our copper pickaxe and we also have our broken trident. Now we're going to make some decent progress today because first of all, we're going to massacre enemies within 1 or 2 strikes, and the copper pickaxe will see us through more or less the majority of the mines. It can 1-shot, 2-shot most of the nodes that we come across, which is absolutely magnificent. We will stop along the way and pick up some copper nodes here and there. You see, we don't really need copper anymore for tool upgrades. We already have the pickaxe and the axe has been done. All of these ores will be turned into beautiful cherry bombs. But we're also going to keep a couple of ores as well to make some furnaces, but we can worry about that after we do a couple of Skull Cavern runs. So we're on floor 19, this was a spiral floor, and I just want to showcase how unlucky I got when it comes to a staircase. That just goes to show the amount of rocks I had to break open to get that ladder. Managed to make our way down to floor 25 today. It wasn't the greatest of starts, but it was better than nothing, and it does ramp up over the next few days. We did get level 2 in mining, which was great, and we got a skill up in combat, which means I can now make bug stakes. Bug stakes are great early on for energy. Another help on the quest, we will try to complete that over the next couple of days. So I went ahead, I made 2 bug stakes and 19 cherry bombs. The cherry bombs are going to help me to get down deep very, very quickly. They're a great energy saver, they're an even better time saver. We're also going to wipe out all of the grubs and duggies that we see because we have the weapon to do so. It just means more combat XP for us. So in terms of current gains, what we really want is mining skill up 6 before the 15th, before the Desert Festival, and we want a combat skill of 5 so we can grab that extra 10% attack power. It goes a long way. This broken trident is powerful enough to see us through all of the mines, but when you get down to the bottom tier, it starts to lack in terms of DPS when it comes to killing monsters down there. So if we don't pick up a better weapon between now and then, we can always just switch over to the obsidian edge when we pick that up. We picked up an ancient seed off one of the flies. That was very nice, and we will actually donate that to Gunther because it counts as one of the donatable items, and we do need 60 to get into the swords after all. When I got to floor 40, picked up the slingshot, I threw it in the bin. I'm not going to use it. The master slingshot is something I have been practicing, but to be honest with you, it's not something I use on this run. The biggest problem with it is that I just don't have the resources to make explosive ammo and bombs at the same time. Because when we get to the Desert Festival, I don't have huge amounts of resources where I can just make huge amounts of bombs and ammo. So I have to think very carefully on where the resources are going to go. We got a few more skill ups with mining and combat. We're going to grab some mushrooms the next day. We got 5 common mushrooms. We're going to dry them out. That will give us back a really nice energy food the next day. It finally happened on day number 8 of all things. I picked up 2 more pieces of coral. Willie was also selling 12 pieces of stonefish bait. Now, don't get too excited. Even with stonefish bait, stonefish are still quite rare, but we're still going to have a crack off the stonefish because one smoked gold star stonefish would sell for over 1,000 gold. That is absolutely amazing. Today, we're doing a help on the quest where we have to fish up 4 anchovies in total. That's why we're down at the beach. I have a furnace behind me too, smelting up iron bars. I need 3 iron bars for the bait maker. I need an additional 5 iron bars to upgrade my copper pickaxe to a steel pickaxe. So we're going to be roaming around the lands of Stardew Valley over the next handful of days with that furnace attached to us. We went back to Clint, picked up our copper axe. We're now going to talk to Clint again and we're going to upgrade our pickaxe to a steel pickaxe. It's going to bring us down to 4,000 gold. We're then going to get Clint to break open huge amounts of geodes, including some omni geodes we got inside the mines as well. All of these items that can be donated, you guessed it, will be donated. As you can see, our collection is growing, but we're still nowhere near the 60 pieces we need to donate to get access to the source. Now, I got lucky here and I got some bubbles beside Willie's house. So we're going to spend huge amounts of time now fishing up as much fish as possible. Getting extra pieces of bait is always a game changer because bait plus bubbles means almost instant bite rates, and that is exactly what you want. Just look at the sheer amount of perfect catches I'm getting here. Look at all the fishing XP I am currently accumulating. And even if I don't get a perfect catch, if I can get a chest, even if it has wood inside it, I'm still getting more than double XP for that fish. So when the bubbles run out, I'm going to fish down here into deeper waters. I just got a quad catch there. That is getting a perfect catch on a fish as well as grabbing the treasure chest. They're quite rare, but sometimes it can happen and it is a great boost to the fishing bar. Very nice indeed. Another diamond. We're going to keep that. Willie came up behind me, very impatient, looking for his anchovies. Look what he did. He threw the prize ticket at me and it fell into the ocean. When this happened, I was thinking to myself, should I reset the day? Because I wanted to use those prize tickets for the ticket machine, but I also needed the prize tickets for other things too. But then I did the calculations and I realized the run could go on. It's not going to destroy the run. So I went back to the farm, and I'm going to take my frustrations out on all these trees. I don't have my pickaxe, so I can't go to the mines. I need to put some effort into this farm before it's too late. All of these big stumps have to go. I will cut down as many regular trees as possible, because there will come a time now in the next couple of days where we will be bombing the entire Riverland farm to put down hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of kale. So these are the times where you have to go back to the farm and do a little bit of farm management. I also got some carrots. I need those for the community centre bundle. It was nice to hold them up from the ground. The energy was quite low, so there wasn't much I could do towards the end of the night. I did have some fish inside a chest, but they were sardines, and I wanted to keep those to make dish of the seas, which is why I bought loads of potatoes in the first place. I didn't have the rest of the ingredients needed to make the field snack, which was a right old pain. So I went around, shook some trees in the hopes to get some sort of acorns. It wasn't happening. I got level 3 foraging. I can now make the cookout kit. Fabulous. That means if I get a rainy day, I can use that to cook up a dish of the sea. I'm at over 1,000 gold. It was just selling fish and other bits and bobs. The next day starts with me cutting down huge amounts of trees and breaking little mini tree stumps. The reason why we're doing this again is to clear up space so we can put down loads of kale when the time comes. Also, this is a great way to get some foraging XP. You don't get huge amounts from the little mini tree stumps, you just get 1 XP. You do, however, get, I think it's 24 XP when you break open the big hardwood stumps. We're going to make the bait maker. We're going to have a chat with Pierre. We're going to buy 2 pieces of oil. We need that to make the hash browns, you see. Speaking of hash browns, we're going to buy the recipe off Gus. We now have everything we need to make some dish of the seas. So we're going to make 2 hash browns. I could have made 2 dish of the seas, but I ate 1 sardine last night to cut down a handful more trees. But not to worry, 1 dish of the sea should be enough for me to grab that legend. If it isn't, well, I know where the start button is. Oh, today was just one of those days. I reset today about 5 times, I'm not going to joke with you. And the reason why I kept resetting was because I wasn't getting great odds with the stonefish. I have done way better in the past when it comes to getting stonefish, and I just wasn't getting them. And I was using stonefish bait. I was getting ghostfish, green algae, and all different manners of trash. I got 1 stonefish. After a handful of attempts, I said, you know what? We're going to smoke it up, go out to the lake and do some fishing. If I had any sort of brain, I would have reset it today again and just not used the stonefish bait. It was a bit of a waste of money. I should have just spent all of that time fishing in the lake instead. I would have got more fishing XP and I would have got more money. So looking back on this content, I could have done a much better day number 9. It's not going to break the challenge, but day number 9 could have been optimized way better. Something that many of you know, when you catch a stonefish, it gives nothing. But when you smoke it, it gives 405 energy and 182 health. That's absolutely insanity. 405 energy is a super energy food. Sure, it says for over 1,000 gold, but if you were really stuck, you could eat a smoked stonefish. Because I suppose when you smoke it, it's not as stony as it used to be. So I made 6,000 gold today. The majority came from fishing. The stonefish there alone summed up to 1,125 gold, which was real nice. Finally happened. On day number 10, we finally got some rain. We're going to make a trap bobber. We already have a trap bobber equipped. That was the one we bought from Willie. I made a second one, just in case. But not to worry, it will be put to good use. We have our bait maker, our fish smoker. We have the iridium rod. We have everything we need to catch the legend, head down to Clint, do a few bits with him, donate some stuff to Gunther, and then do some fishing for the rest of the day. Now, this day is one of the most important days in the run, so I will show more or less the majority of today because it's just such a critical day. So we ran up to the lake, we took our dish of the sea, and we're crossing our fingers and we're praying to God that we get this legend much sooner rather than later. There are times where you can fish up here for the whole day and you won't get a single legend bite. We don't have legend bait, we don't have curiosity lures, we just have our iridium rod, some deluxe bait and a trap bobber. It happened on the 3rd attempt here. We got quite lucky. We got the bite of bites. We got the legendary bite. Now, this was actually quite the easy legend. And when it comes to catching the legend, just like catfish, just like almost any fish in the game, you have the easy version, the mediocre version, and the hard version. We got the easy version there. I didn't sweat too much catching that one. When I caught that legend, that was the gold star. We're going to smoke it up, but we're not going to smoke it up right now. No, we're going to run down to Clint's with our fish smoker. It's now 10 minutes past 8, so Clint isn't open, right? We're going to smoke the fish right there, and while we wait for Clint to open, we're going to do some fishing. Now, this is what I was hoping for. I really wanted a catfish. If I got a catfish right now, I could have put it into the bait maker, got some catfish bait, and I could have went to town on catfish after I was finished with Gunther, but I didn't get the catfish. Not to worry though. We're going to go to Clint, get our steel pickaxe. We're going to talk to Clint again, and we're going to upgrade our copper axe to a steel axe. That is absolutely essential now for maxing out foraging. We're going to get Clint to break open all these geodes. We're then going to donate all of these minerals to Gunther, just to try to get that cap up to 60. When we're finished, our smoke legend is ready to be collected. So we're going to grab all our stuff, and we're going to head down to Willie. Now, we can't sell any smoke goods to Willie, but we will sell him the regular stuff to free up some inventory slots. That's the only reason we came down here. We're now going to run all the way to Leah's house. I find that fishing just south of Leah's house is much more convenient for me to get gold star catfishes, because if I fish too shallow, they'll end up being silver star catfishes, and we don't want that. So I now have my fish smoker, I've got my bait maker, and I got lucky. My very first pull there was a catfish. Into the bait maker it goes. We got back 9 catfish bait. Lovely. The bait maker will give you anywhere between 5 and 10 bait. If you get 5, consider yourself very unlucky. We got 9, so that was a win. Every single catfish we now grab will go into the fish smoker. Now this is where I regret my actions at the start of the video, because I said one fish smoker was going to be enough. I was wrong. If I had 2 or 3 fish smokers, I could have made way more money today. Way more money. Because when you put something into the fish smoker, it takes a long time for that to process one fish. So we end up with huge amounts of catfish just sitting there waiting to be processed. Now, as you can see, I've got a fairly high fishing skill, okay? I've got a trap bobber. These catfish are absolutely no threat to me. If we get a catfish plus a treasure chest, that's double XP. Double XP catfish, it's real nice XP. We end up with huge amounts of catfish today. Well over 30 catfish. If we had 3 fish smokers, we could have made well over triple of what we're going to currently make. Now, it's not the end of the world. We have our smoked legend. That's going to sell for astronomical amounts of money. And the reason why this rainy day was so important was because we want to complete the Vault bundle well before we get into that desert festival. The rest of the day, I'm cutting out the fishing minigame, because if I left in all of the minigame attempts, this video would be way too long and huge amounts of people just wouldn't click on it because of its length. Hopefully, for what I have shown in terms of going through the minigame multiple times with the catfish, you're satisfied enough to see that they're fairly manageable when you have the iridium rod and when you have the trap bobber and things like that. So when we get into day number 11, we're going to start by clearing all of the big rocks off the farm. I am going to eat a handful of carrots. I will make sure to leave one for the community centre bundle. The carrots are absolutely amazing at giving back energy. You can't get rid of those big rocks by using bombs. So we want all this gone off the farm when the time comes and we decide to purchase a full stack of kale. Another help wanted quest, but this time it was quite favourable. It was 4 carps. They're up in the lake area. We're going to head up to the lake anyway. We're going to sell some smoked catfish chip here along with the smoked legend. It pushed us up to 34,000 gold. We're now going to go ahead and purchase the backpack upgrade. This was a huge mistake, and it's going to potentially cost me the run. And I know what you're thinking. How's it going to cost? Just keep watching. You see, when it comes to doing a challenge like this, it's easy to just write everything down, look at it on paper and say, yeah, that's achievable. Yeah, that works out. But when you're actually going through the motions, it's totally different. And you don't realize when you make these mistakes, when you're going through the motions, you only realize it when a certain event is coming along, and then you tell yourself, oh crap, I should have done that a few days ago. So look, it happens. But I'm not saying we failed the challenge. Just keep watching. I mean, We're only on the 11th. This is a very interesting challenge. The engineer's bundle is going to kick us right in the teeth there. That's the problem with remix bundles. We need an iridium ore and a battery pack for crying out loud, and you can't really get them unless you're really lucky before you get Desert Festival. Sure, the travelling cart might have them. I don't even look at a travelling cart in spring. To be honest with you, I totally forget that she even exists. Reason being, I was just hyper focused on what I had to do each day, the gains I had to make. If I didn't make those gains, it was going to be a day reset. The travelling cart didn't fit into any of those gains. And even though I don't get the fast travel for a while, it's not the end of the world. We don't really need the fast travel that much anyway. What we need right now is the vault bundle complete, we need the space boots, and we need our mining and combat skills elevated. And that's why we're in the mines right now. We're on floor 74 and look what happened. The game does this to me all the time. I have no energy, but there's a diamond. I can't ignore it. The big fear here is to use up energy to the point where I pass out. That would be a problem. If I pass out, I can't reset the day because my game will save. But when you reach exhaustion, you have a good 4 or 5 swings before you pass out. So after a couple of calculations, I knew I was safe. When I got to floor 76, there was hope. There was a barrel. There might be cave cards inside. Let's break it open. We got copper ore, not ideal. We had a bat, it might drop a bomb. No, it didn't. So I had to go all the way back outside, all the way down to my chest by the lake and grab some energy food. I had 30,000 gold. I couldn't lose a single cent of it. So I'm going to speed up time. This is my character dribbling on down to the chest. Thank God I put this chest here. Inside, there was a couple of forageables. Not anything too fancy. I'm going to eat the leeks to get back some energy. I need this to make it back home in one piece. You see, if I passed out, I could get hit with up to 1,000 gold. Right now, I need every single penny. I will go to the Adventurers Guild and I will sell all of the weapons and boots I don't need to Marlin to get some extra money. When I'm finished, we're going to go back home and we're going to go to sleep because we didn't have a whole lot of energy to do anything else. I made 5,500 gold. The great majority came from the other category. As you can see there, we've got coffee beans, speaker. The sonar bobber sells for 250, which was really nice. An ancient doll, solar essences. We're going to keep the void essences like they're our second son because if we want to get Krobus to move in with us, we need 200 void essences to trade into the desert trader. I'm going to make some staircases today and some cherry bombs. The staircases are not going to be used for Skull Cavern. They're going to be used for very quick progression in the regular mines. So we're on floor 76 right now. Before we get to floor 80, we will pop 2 staircases just to get down to the bottom tier. We'll grab the Firewalker boots. Now we can start to breathe a little bit easier. Because when you get to the bottom tier, it's much easier to get mining and combat experience. This is also the place we can hopefully grab a powerful weapon for the Skull Caverns. The Broken Trident, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful dagger, but it's not beautiful enough for the Skull Caverns. When I get those gold clusters, I always get excited. It's just a huge source of XP that I greatly need. Also, gold ores are important. We need them for gold tools. We also need the gold ores for mega bombs. And when it comes to doing very powerful Skull Cavern runs, especially with those Calico ranks, mega bombs are the way to go for fast progression. We're now back in the lake, and the reason why we came out to do some fishing was because we cannot ignore the help wanted quests. And because we're putting so much focus on these help wanted quests, we're taking away time from other activities. If I didn't bother with the help wanted quests, I could have remained in the mines for much longer, gathering more resources. But we really need those mystery boxes. It's not all doom and gloom here. All of these largemouth basses I'm pulling up, they're being smoked, they're going to be sold. The bait maker is really paying off here because I'm using largemouth bass bait. So all of these largemouth basses are an absolute game changer. You're not guaranteed a largemouth bass every time, but there's a fair good chance you'll get one. We picked up a second Jewels of the Sea because we've already activated the first one. By activating additional Books of Power will give us 100 skill points to fishing. For the rest of the day, we're just doing more fishing. We eventually got the carps. Look what else we got. Topaz ring. That was beautiful. +1 to defense. We'll equip that straight away. More importantly, a Neptune's glaive. Hey, you succeeded, GamerGar. The carp is an exciting catch, don't you think? One time I caught one the size of an arcade machine. Well, here's your reward. Congratulations. We're now going to head up to the boiler room and we're going to complete the Adventurers bundle because we have the essences to do so. Once that bundle has been completed, that will actually unlock the vault bundles for us. Now here's the problem. We had 37,000 gold. We don't have enough to complete all the vault bundles, and this is a real show killer right here. Because if we completed the vault today, we could have went to the desert tomorrow. We could have gotten warp totems to the desert, which would give us a huge advantage when doing the first of the 3 Calico runs. And this is why money is so important. We have 2200 gold. And the problem now is that tomorrow's also the 13th. So we can't sell anything tomorrow to complete the vault bundle because of the Easter event. That event's going to mess us over real bad. We did get level 10 fishing, which was nice. Fish will sell for more, so we're going to sell all these fish today. We can't go into town because we don't want to get dragged into the Easter event, so all we can do is wait for tomorrow to fix up the vault bundle. Now on the upside, yes, we will get access to the desert on the 15th, but it would have been much nicer if we were able to get access to that desert today. If you think that was kind of bad luck when it comes to planning out money, you're not going to believe what happens to me today. And this is something I didn't even know was possible. This is something that I learned today. Something extremely valuable. Something that I can use for my future challenge runs. So first of all, we got down to floor 90. We picked up the chest, okay? We got the obsidian edge. I then got an infested floor on 91. That was fine. I don't mind getting extra combat XP. I alternated between the Neptune's Glaive and the Obsidian Edge to see which weapon hit harder. On 98, I got very lucky indeed. I got a glorious mushroom floor. And all of these mushrooms will give me huge amounts of foraging XP. So this is going to help me breach that gap when it comes to getting level 10 foraging, because there's only so many trees in Stardew Valley. On floor 98, there was also lots of enemies I got to destroy. There was even some squid kids there too, which give real nice XP. Now on floor 99, I got the big nasty spiral floor, and I had to go all the way down to the bottom of this floor to actually get out of the place. But it's not the end of the world here. You see, I got a reward when I made it down to the bottom of this floor. I broke open all the crates only to find a nice weapon upgrade, the Holy Blade. Now its base damage is low, but it gives +4 speed, +2 defense, and a Crusader enchant. You bring that baby into Skull Caverns and those mummies will flee for their lives. You will obliterate them. The carbon ghosts, you will obliterate them. That's about it though. When it comes to fighting serpents, unless you got a really good Holy Blade, just switch to something else. So we picked up the star drop on floor 100, right? And look what happened next. We got another Holy Blade. This one had a +4 attack special enchant. So you can get weapons with +1 attack, +2, +3. This one got the maximum of that effect. It got a +4. That was significant, so it's going to hit way harder. We got level 5 mining. We'll take Geologist, chance for gems to appear in pairs, and that later. For now, look what we got up for 105, and this was the game giving me the middle finger. I got a prismatic shard. I had a prismatic shard and there was nothing I could do with it because I can't get into the desert. So all I can do with it is give it to Gunther. And I know we need to prioritize giving him stuff, but I mean, I would have traded in for the prismatic shard before the desert festival in a heartbeat. Could you imagine going into the desert festival without the skull key so the enemies don't get the monster buffs? You would make mince meat of everything in there with a galaxy weapon. Everything would disintegrate before you. Now look, we have a Holy Blade with a +4. It's grand, but I just felt like the game was giving me a big middle finger when it came to that mystery node. They're just so rare, incredibly rare. So we completed all the vault bundles. That's going to unlock the bus. We can now do the desert festival the next day. Hurrah. How many Gunthers do you know that can claim they've gotten a prismatic shard before the 15th? I bet not many Gunthers. So this now has me thinking, right? If we unlock the quarry, sometimes the quarry can get a mystery node. And if we got a prismatic shard from that, we could then bring that into Skull Caverns, but we would need to unlock the quarry and the bus before the 15th. I don't even know if that's possible. Maybe if we had 3 fish smokers, it would be possible. But it's just food for thought for any sort of future challenges, you know? We're going to go to Gus now with the rest of our money. We have to buy some salads. We can only afford 27, so we're going to have to be real careful now in the Skull Caverns because that's kind of going to be it for the next 3 days, you know? We also went to Robin, we gave her the seaweed. That was just to help on the quest, and we had a seaweed lying around from all the fishing we've been doing down by the beach. For the rest of the day, we are going to gather up as much iron ore as possible so we can make huge amounts of bombs so we can do some decent Skull Cavern runs. Now, I have set out some very hard rules for myself over the next 3 days. If I don't get rank 1, it's going to be a day reset. Many day resets were done. We also picked up the Monster Compendium. There is a chance when you defeat a monster, it will drop double the loot. And I think that chance is somewhere around the 5% mark. So the Junimos are now going to fix up the old bus, which means we can do the Desert Festival. We're going to take Fighter there for the level 5. All attacks do 10% more damage. And we also got the level 6 mine in there too, so we can make bombs. We also made over 3,200 gold there from selling stuff. Pam leaves a little bit earlier on the 15th, which was nice. So we blocked her way so she would speed up a bit, which would allow me to get to the Desert Festival a little bit earlier. I was in here by 8:30. I mean, it's better than coming here at 10 o'clock, right? We're going to talk to the chef. Now, for the first few attempts, I kept asking for the Shaft Cheddar to get the attack power buff over the luck buff. So I went with attack power and speed. It just wasn't doing it for me. That extra piece of luck was what I needed to get down deep. Because the first couple of attempts, I just wasn't getting great luck with the staircases or the shafts. In terms of quests, we'll always pick the quest that gives us the most calico eggs as a reward. So for this one, we're going with Deep Dive. Now today ended up being, I think this was what, the 5th attempt? This was the attempt. We got great luck today. Everything just lined up the way we wanted. We even got some nice buffs from the calico statues. If you're new to this whole event, let me just break it down for you. Every time you get down 5 floors, you get 1 rank. Every time you click on a statue, you get 1 rank. At the end of the day, before you pass out, if you talk to Gil, he will give you a prize based on your rank. The best prize that you can get is when you get a rank of 55 or above. That will give you 500 calico eggs and a magic rock candy. Now, if you can head into this event the next day with a magic rock candy, you're absolutely singing, because the luck buff alone that it gives you will allow you to get down deep very quickly. That means more calico eggs for you, more iridium ores, more everything. Today, we don't care about rain totems, we don't care about battery packs because we're not even going to go to Ginger Island. All we want today are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of calico eggs. As you can see, we just got 15 levels there in that shaft. We get a few of those today, which was great. And by getting a few of those shafts, you can get down very quickly. On floor 92, we picked up a dinosaur egg. This was absolutely amazing. Also, those dinosaurs are worth killing because they drop items that we can donate to Gunther. Now, if we get ambush floors like that, if we have ladders, we'll just escape out. It's not worth the time. But if we encounter dinosaurs on floors like this where we're dropping bombs, we will take the time to eliminate them just to get the few pieces of bone to donate more items to the museum. Now, we were getting swarmed with bats today. If it was any other challenge, I would stay, I'd say hello, how's it going, how are you doing, and we try to get battery packs, but we don't care about that. We got an egg rated at 57 today, which was amazing. That brought us up to 954 calico eggs. Just remember that. That's just over 9 skill books when it comes to the foraging skill. And those skill books are called the Woodcutters Weekly. We also picked up 3 rain totems the next day, which was absolutely fantastic. And we also achieved a real good rank today too, because we started with a magic rock candy. So we got way more ladders, we got way more shafts. It was just a magnificent day altogether. We got an egg rating of 60 today, and that's going to give us another 500 calico eggs and a magic rock candy that we can use to go into the next day. So we made over 22,000 gold today. Where did all this come from? Let's break it down, right? The majority of it came from mining. Prismatic shards, yeah, we're selling those. Diamonds, topazes, aquamarines. that's more or less the bulk of it. The next day, we're going to purchase Mega Bombs. Now, we don't want to use up all of our iridium ores. We need to keep some to make bars to get money to purchase kale. But we still need lots of bombs to do a decent Skull Cavern run. So we came in here, look at all the buffs on the top right hand corner of my screen. Those buffs are the Magic Rock Candy. We also have the food the chef made for us, which was the luck buff as well as the speed buff. And on top of that, we also have our triple shot espresso. And sometimes as well, we can get speed buffs from the statue. And all those buffs will stack into a beautiful cocktail of progressiveness. Now, I didn't get any rain totems today. I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm not going to reset the day. All I wanted today was a good egg rating. And I get that. Because I already have 3 rain totems, I said to myself, well, I'm going to be coming back in the near future to farm combat XP. I can worry about getting additional rain totems then. Also took the time to engage in more combat today as well, just to get some more combat experience, because when it comes to doing these runs where you need to max out all your skills, I find that if you don't engage in huge amounts of combat going through those events, you greatly suffer much later on in the challenge. So we had over 31 skill books here of the Woodcutters Weekly. We're going to activate the whole lot of them. And when we're finished activating all these skill books, we managed to get our foraging skill right up into the levels of 9. What we're looking at right now is what needs to be achieved within the next 6 days when it comes to max skills. Farming 10, foraging 10, combat 10. So what we need to do now is use mega bombs and regular bombs, and we need to obliterate the whole farm. Not the whole farm, and I learned this the hard way. I didn't need to obliterate the bottom 2 mini islands of the farm. I just needed to obliterate the rest of it. So we're now going to take out our hoe because we're out of bombs and we have the hoe up the ground. It is time consuming, it will take up the whole day, but it is absolutely necessary to max out farming within the next 6 days. We also need to get the kale planted today because it's raining. Also, I had to use a rain totem from yesterday, so I only have 2 rain totems left. We now need money, so we're going to go to Clint. We're going to sell iridium bars, prismatic shards, rubies, diamonds. We're selling everything that we don't need to donate. Clint will also break open artifact troves that we got from some of the treasure rooms, as well as over 140 Omni Geodes. Look what we got from the artifact troves. We picked up the Book of Power, the Treasure Appraisal Guide. This guide will triple the value of all artifacts. That means any artifact we've already given to Gunther, we can sell for triple the value. It wasn't worth too much to us right now because the great majority of things we had were minerals and not artifacts. But guess what? I took the mining perk where minerals are worth 30 or 40% more. So all of these minerals that have already been donated, I can sell back to Clint. And just keep your eye on the money at the top right hand side of the screen there, because before we started breaking open geodes, we had about 58,000 gold, right? Wait until you see how much money I end up with when we're finished breaking open all of the geodes. Yes, I got a prismatic shard from one of the Omni Geodes. No, we're not going to keep it. Why? Because we don't need it. We're going to sell it for money. We now have the great majority of minerals donated. So the great majority of stuff we get from these Omni Geodes, Gunther already has them, so we're just selling them all back. But look at our money. It's just skyrocketing. We almost have 70,000 gold now from selling stuff. We're not going to sell the ores. I'll sell those frozen tears, but we're keeping all the ores because we can smelt those. We're now down to our remaining few Omni Geodes. What we're going to do with those is just going to sell them. We have 71,000 gold right now, so we're going to go into Pierre's and we're going to spend all of our money on kale seeds. I wasn't happy with the amount of kale seeds I could afford, okay? I got 1 stack. If I had more money, I really should have purchased another 500. Because this Riverlands farm, I think it can take 15 or 1600 crops. So 999 kale, first of all, is more than enough to max out farming. The reason I got a full stack was to ensure that I was going to get additional XP that would go into mastery. Because we need at least 1 level of mastery to get what I need for Krobus to move in by the end of spring. I took a triple shot espresso and I took a spicy eel just for the speed buffs, so I could get all this kale planted before the day came to an end. Now I've almost got the entirety of this farm hoed up, but I didn't need to use half of the space here. It was still a monumental task, and I was very happy that I was able to achieve this by the 18th. Gunther finally paid me a visit the next day. He's going to give me the key to the stores. Now, I know what you're thinking. We don't have enough time to max Krobus out before summer by just giving him horseradishes, right? We will give him horseradishes, but there's another item we can use to max out Krobus, and that, my friends, is the Star Drop Tea. This entire run has been geared towards me getting Star Drop Teas as quickly as possible. That's why we're doing all this. That's why we want to get into the Mastery Cave, to get the advanced fishing mechanics, to get access to the gold fishing chests in the hopes to get Star Drop Teas. That's why I need to max out all my skills. Doing another Help Wanted quest today to slay 2 ghosts. Why are we doing Help Wanted quests? It's quite simple. At the start of the game, I selected the remixed bundles. There is one remixed bundle that will award you with a Star Drop Tea. But to get the reward, you need 1 prize ticket and 5 mystery boxes. That's why it's so important to complete at least 6 Help Wanted quests, so we can get Mr. Key to come along on his plane and drop mystery boxes into the valley. So we went down to the stores, met Krobus, gave him a horseradish, went to the desert, traded in a prismatic shard for a galaxy sword. What are we going to do next? We're going to head down into the mines. We got another mushroom floor. This was extremely fortunate. You see, it is extremely difficult to get a foraging skill of 10 before spring is out, and all of these mushrooms will help towards that. We also have all of the trees in Cindersap Forest we can cut down. We have all of the trees in other places. We also have the secret woods. We haven't went in there yet, but there will come a time where we will go in and we'll start farming up the ores inside there as well. So any sort of forageables we can get, hoeing spots we can activate, will help us breach that gap. We finally got down to floor 120. We picked up the skull key. We're now going to speak to as many villagers as possible. I don't know if this is still a thing, okay? But I have been doing some research. If you haven't completed the introductions quest thus far, completing the quest with Krobus active as a friend will also give him 100 friendship points, which is absolutely amazing. We need all the friendship points we can get. So we got lucky. The 21st will be a natural rainy day. I don't have to worry about rain totems for now, but I will more than likely have to worry about rain totems tomorrow for the next day, because I only got 3 rain totems. I need at least 2 more. Because today is Saturday and I haven't been to the beach much, I knew all of the forageables maximized by today on the beach. So I went down, grabbed huge amounts of foraging XP, and I sold them to Willie. Spoke to Harvey as well to complete the introductions quest. There was just a handful of people left to speak to. Went into the desert. I got all of the forageables here. All of these coconuts will give me additional foraging XP. And then I went into the Skull Caverns. Now, I wasn't too worried about getting a raid totem today. I was prioritizing combat experience. I needed to have foraging and combat maxed out by the time the kale grew. If I didn't have them maxed out by that time, upon harvesting all the kale, all of the additional experience wouldn't go into the mastery gauge. So I basically had 6 days, less days now, to get those skills done. I got some iridium sprinklers today. They'll actually sell for fairly nice money. But here's the thing, right? We don't really need money anymore, so it's kind of pointless. What we need right now is huge amounts of experience. We finally got the cutscene for Mr. Key. He's dropped all of the mystery boxes for us, so we can now grab those and we can grab a Star Drop Tea from the community centre. We made over 21,000 gold today. Coconuts, cloth, prismatic shards, iridium bars. I mean, if we take a look at the mining tab, we've got 10 iridium bars, we've got bone fragments, everything mining we're just selling for huge quantities of money. The other tab was most made up of artifacts that we found in the Skull Caverns. So tomorrow is going to be a beautiful sunny day. We don't want that at all. Not at all. So we have to get a rain totem today, or we need to reset. Today was resetted 6 times. It was a horrible day. To be fair, the first 3 resets I didn't really know what to do or how to approach today. Today there was multiple things going on. There was the mutant carp to catch and smoke for extra money. There was the statue of uncertainty, what skills to respec and why I should respec them. There was also the matter of going to Clint to grabbing tools. there was the matter of going to Robin and trying to get the house upgraded. So Krobus would actually move in with us, and it takes Robin 3 days to upgrade the house. It was just one of those days, and I was trying to figure out the best route. And then, of course, there was the matter of going to the Skull Caverns and getting a rain totem. So it was an absolutely horrible day. It was a horrible grind. But look, we got there in the end. So because I had at least steel tools, I managed to cut open that big tree stump. That was more foraging XP. Went up to Robin here, got the house upgrade. We were also at the sores too, so we got the mutant carp, and we respec'd up fishing so we can spec into pirate, which will dramatically increase the odds of treasure chests popping up. I had to buy wood off Robin too, because at this moment in time, I didn't have huge amounts of wood. I kept selling it. But look, I had the funds to do so. So we went to the desert trader. We're going to trade in some iridium ores for mega bombs, and we're going to head into the Skull Caverns. Because it was Sunday, we're going to grab some staircases as well by trading in the limited amount of jades that we have. 6, 7, 6, 7. That's right. On floor 67, we picked up some lovely, beautiful rain totems. No more day resets for now. For the rest of the day, we will prioritize escalating our combat skill. It's on 9 right now, and it's getting fairly close to 10. We just need to keep grinding it out, and we'll get there eventually. Things were looking up. Things were looking real good right now. So here's the thing about Krobus, right? We need to max him out by the 25th, so he moves in by the 28th. It's now the 22nd. So you can see how tight things are going to get here. We got 10,000 gold off Mr. Key for making a Class 430 in Skull Caverns. Won't get that when you go through Skull Caverns by a Desert Festival, because it's not the real Skull Caverns, it's a special event Skull Caverns. Marcelo was in town. We had 15,785 gold, but look what he was selling. A Combat Quarterly, 10,000 gold, and Woodcutters Weekly for 8,000 gold. I needed 18,000 gold to grab those, but more importantly, when I went for the trading tab, look what he was trading for a Combat Quarterly in Monster Musk. The Monster Musk is way more valuable than the Combat Quarterly. Sure, the Combat Quarterly would give me 250 Combat XP. That pales in comparison to what you can get using the Monster Musk. So this is why we needed the mystery boxes. It was to complete the Helper's Bundle, which gives you a Star Drop Tea. So all of those help on the quests finally paid off for me. I'm going to sell Clint some prismatic shards I picked up in the Skull Caverns to bring me up to 23,500 gold. We're now going to purchase the Combat Quarterly as well as the Woodcutters Weekly. We're going to trade back in the Combat Quarterly for the Monster Musk. We will activate the Woodcutters Weekly to get an extra 250 foraging XP. That's going to go a long way indeed. We're now going to search for ambush floors or infested floors. So we started with floor 91 by taking the elevator. We didn't get an infested floor, but we got something better. We got a mushroom floor. This is going to give us even more foraging XP. We're going to pick up all these mushrooms. We'll sell them all. I might keep the purple ones though for healing foods when I have to go back to Skull Caverns to get some combat XP. Once I was finished looking through the regular mines for ambush rooms, I decided to leave and go into the Skull Caverns. Because I had the Monster Musk activated, I was getting huge amounts of monster spawns in here. And even the serpents give really good combat XP. It was only a matter of time before I finally maxed out my combat skill. Now once the combat skill was maxed out, there was only one skill left to do before we harvested all of the kale, and that was the foraging skill. Finally, by resetting floors over and over again, primarily floor 1, if I got ladders or shafts to go down deeper I would, but eventually we maxed out the combat there. I did use my gold axe to wipe out some of these larger tree trunks. I also went into the secret woods. If you get a steel axe or above, you can access this place. These hardwood stumps regenerate every single day. So we finally maxed out our foraging skill as well, which was great. I also gave the Star Drop Tea to Krobus along with some horseradishes, and we're going to talk to him as well. Talking to the NPCs will give them small amounts of friendship points, but it accumulates. And there we have it. Level 10 foraging, level 10 combat. All we had to do now was wait for all of this kale to fully grow. Now here was the problem, right? We had all the skills maxed out, except farming. I thought the kale was going to fully grow today, but I was wrong. It was going to be fully grown on the 24th. This is the problem, you see, when you decide to grow stuff and not use the speed grow you can get from Sandy on a Thursday. If I had more money, I could have gotten that done. If I got to the Skull Caverns one day earlier, I could have gotten that done because I would have got more money from the Skull Caverns. I would have got Iridium bars. So I now have, in essence, 1 day to get the bones of 6 or 7 star drop teas. The day ends up just being this big wasteful day because I'm waiting for the crops to grow. The rest of my skills are maxed out. I can farm these monsters for some void essences, but I would have got the void essences anyway by getting the mastery skills by going through the Skull Caverns. So looking back on the footage, looking back on everything I've done, could I have done better? I could have optimized better. But look, it's experience too. The next time I do a challenge like this, I'll know the importance of getting into the desert much earlier before the festival activates. But the challenge isn't over here, people. There's still a good bit of video to go, and there's still a lot of things we need to achieve before we can access the star drop teas. The hurdles aren't over just yet, not by a long shot. I did say, is it possible? Can we get Krobus by spring? It still could be possible. Now I ended up getting another Holy Blade. This one came with 2 special enchants, plus 2 defense, plus 25 crit power. You see, weapons in 1.6 that you get out of crates, like the Holy Blade and things like that, on the rare occasion they can come with extra enchants up to 2. And believe it or not, you can actually get non-galaxy weapons, non-infinity weapons, and you can use Dragon's Teeth to put those kind of enchants on them. Sometimes when you go to the big forge in the volcano and you enchant a non-galaxy weapon with the Dragon's Tooth, it can get up to 2 enchants. You can make extremely powerful weapons. So the 24th has finally dawned upon us. The house has been upgraded, another hurdle completed. Krobus is on 3 hearts. So we have to get 7 more hearts with this beautiful shadow person before spring comes to an end. Technically, before the 25th, if we want him to move in before summer comes into play. So let's start by harvesting all of this kale. I don't even pick up half of this kale because I don't need to. Today it was resetted about 4 times because I just wasn't satisfied with how I was grabbing the kale. See, the first time I did it, I picked up all of the kale. Then I realised that half the day was gone. The second time I wasn't happy with the route I was taking around the farm to grab all of the kale in one fell swoop. After a while, I got a fairly decent route. Get all of our skills maxed out, and all XP we now gain will go into the mastery bar. Now here was the biggest challenge, and it required a couple of more day resets. I had to get a level 1 mastery today. Not tomorrow, today, and it was already 9:30. Now I did have some extra experience from getting the extra bit of kale. If I had more money, I could have planted more kale, I would have gotten way more experience. It would have made this whole day way easier. But let me tell you something. To get 1 mastery level in 1 day is very difficult. I have done it before. The trick is to get down deep as early as possible. Each iridium vein will give you 50 XP. That's how you get it done. So I decided to leave Skull Caverns once I got the first level in mastery. I popped the warp totem, I ran into the mastery cave, and I was able to grab the advanced iridium rod and activate the advanced fishing perks bang on 2 o'clock. Now here is where the real challenge comes in. Everything that was done before this has been done before many times by many people, okay? Loads of people have maxed out their skills in spring. There's even people out there that got full mastery in spring. Masters of Stardew Valley, okay? They deserve full respect. But how many people can put their hand up and say that they have gotten Krobus to move in with them in spring? Now, as you can see, I just sold 149 kale. The rest of the kale is scattered all over the farm because we just don't need it. Day number 25, oh my god. What a day. The hardest day in the challenge. So we have our advanced iridium rod. We have some treasure hunter tackles, which will increase the spawn rates of treasure chests. And we have magnet bait, okay? The magnet bait will also increase the spawn rate of chests. We also have the pirate passive ability from the fishing, which doubles the odds of chests appearing. Krobus is at 3 hearts. So we need 7 star drop teas today if we want Krobus to move in with us before summer. Now, when I first started this challenge, I thought to myself, sure, after a few day resets, I can get 7-star drop teas. The best way to do it would be to fish here on the actual farm. Here's the thing about star drop teas. You cannot get them from ordinary treasure chests, okay? You need to get the gold chest. So all of these ordinary chests that are popping up, they will never have star drop teas. On the uncommon occasion that you get a gold chest, you might get a star drop tea, but more times than not you won't because it is rare. The star drop tea is not a common item that you will get inside a gold chest. And after attempting this over and over and over and over again, I very quickly came to the realization that the odds of someone getting 7 star drop teas in one day is almost impossible. So this challenge eventually goes from, can I get Krobus to move in with me in spring, to when can I get Krobus to move in? Long story short, I don't get Krobus to move in with me in spring. It doesn't matter how many times I reset today. It doesn't matter how many times I choose different fishing locations. These star drop teas are not to be underestimated. They are extremely rare. And look at all of these great things I was getting inside the chest. I was getting iridium bars, I was getting fish tacos, shrimp cocktails, I was getting fish stew, all of these amazing items. I was even getting fairy dust. And fairy dust can be quite rare. I just got 4 fairy dust right there. But I was not getting star drop teas. So I ended up resetting, trying different locations. Eventually went down to the beach, got bubbles down here. Look what I got at 20 minutes past 9, my first star drop tea. And when this happened, I said to myself, okay, I got 1 at 20 past 9. Maybe there is a chance I can get 7 in one day. Perhaps. So many more resets were done. And look what happened at 10 minutes past 4, another star drop tea. But there was a huge gap there between getting one in the morning and getting one at 10 minutes past 4. That was 2 star drop teas. 5 to go. And these are incredibly rare. Challenge bait, that was nice. It was purple, but it wasn't star drop teas. Look at all of these golden chests that I'm opening up. Huge amounts of golden chests. No star drop teas. So I reset it today, yet again, unhappy with my results. Determined to get Krobus to move in with me in spring. I was fiercely determined. Look at all of the work I've done so far. I maxed out my skills. I upgraded my house. I got access to the stores, donated over 60 artifacts. All to this moment and time. So a few real life days later, I did have to park this challenge, do other stuff, you know, my 25% profit challenge, edited my florist video. I just parked it. I left it alone. I came back every now and again, attempting day 25 over and over again. And I was getting frustrated. I was getting angry at myself for underestimating how rare these star drop teas were. And I have gotten chests before where I've gotten at least 2 star drop teas inside, but it just wasn't happening for me. So eventually the time came where I got 3 star drop teas in one day. It was a record. After several attempts, I lost count at this stage how many attempts, I had to make a decision. Do I give up on trying to get Krobus in spring and move on? Or do I reset today? I decided to give up. I don't think it's possible to get 7 in one day. Maybe it's possible, but you have to ask yourself the question here, people. How many resets are you going to do for that RNG to work? How many resets would it take? Hundreds? Thousands? I'm sure there's people out there that claim they've got more than 7 in one day, but it just wasn't happening. So this run has now become a when can Krobus move in instead of getting Krobus in spring, unfortunately. But I did try my absolute best, you know. After many more resets, we fished down my Leah's cabin. We got 2 more star drop teas. When I got 2, I said fine, we move on to the next day. And by day number 27, I got the biggest chest ever. Look at all the stuff inside it. I managed to get the last 2 star drop teas so I could finally make Krobus moving with me. But you know what, Krobus? You're worth the effort, pal. Krobus, I love you. Not for what's bright, but for what feels true. While everyone's chasing what shines in their view, I found something broken and beautiful in you. You live in the dark, where the quiet runs deep, where nothing is loud and nothing needs me. No gold, no perfection, no image to prove, no fear that I'll fail or something to lose. At the flower festival, laughter is bright, music and dancing, a world full of light. They're holding each other like everything's right, and I'm standing there wondering why it feels wrong inside. Because love there feels loud, like a role you must play, like you have to be more just to make someone stay. But you never asked for that, you never pushed through, you just sat in the silence and let me be true. Krobus, I love you, not in the way that the others all do, not with grand gestures or something to prove, but in every small moment, quiet and still, in the space where the world finally lets me feel. In a world that keeps taking, asking me to improve, you're the only one, Krobus, who just lets me be me with you. And maybe it's strange, maybe no one else knew, but I didn't find comfort in light. I found it in you. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. This is the Krobus in Spring Challenge, almost completed. We managed to get Krobus by summer, day number 2. I hope you all have an amazing week, and I will see you very soon in the next Stardew Valley Challenge. Subscribe, it helps me greatly.